Hi everyone, Nancy here. Just wanted to take the time to go through our May Clay Club box and just give you the rundown on everything inside. So the first thing we're going to look at is all of our tools, and everyone's come in a plastic bag just like this. Now your tools may vary a little bit from what I have, but they're all pretty much the same and serve the same purposes. So everyone should have two brushes. There's one big one and one small one in your box. And these are used for your slip in the container and also for your underglazes. So next we have a loop tool, and they're all pretty much going to look like this. Some might vary in size, but used for carving. Next we have a fork. And this is used for scoring your clay so that you can join your pieces and attachments together. So whatever you're making, just need to make sure you score. Next is a wooden tool. Now these are going to vary. This one probably looks different than the one that you have, but they all have two ends and can be used for various carving and mark making on your projects, and just a handy little tool. Next, I just threw in a popsicle stick because they make a really cool scalloped pattern if you want to try that out, kind of like fish scale. So you just press the end into the clay and it'll just create that really nice rounded edge. So you don't have to use it, but it's in there if you decide to try it out. And I just want to make it clear that you don't have to use any of these carving tools. They're just optional, but they're in there if you want to. So this one that I'm holding is a plastic tool. You all have one. They do vary, the different ends on the tool, but used for carving and mark making. And next is a rib. Now some of you have a plastic one and some of you have a wooden one. This is the wooden one, and it's really handy to use when you're making say a mug, or you are doing a pinch pot, which is in the booklet, and just for helping shaping the piece. So you can use it on the inside, right up against the edge of your clay, and just help really get that nice rounded interior. You can also use the edges for any carving or just shaping in general. Just a nice handy tool. And you can also use it for smoothing. And that brings us to the sponge, which is also used for smoothing. So you can get it wet in a bowl of water, squeeze it out, and just use it on the surface to clean up any raw edges or any marks, anything like that. All right, so the last tool in the plastic bag is this clay knife. And they're not sharp, they're kind of like butter knives, which some of you have butter knives and some of you have these clay knives, and they both work exactly the same. Just use it for cutting off pieces of clay or trimming your pieces. So next in the box, everyone has a dowel, and this is used for rolling out your clay. So next up is this rolled up piece of canvas. Now, if you have a really slick countertop, you're not going to want to use that for your clay. You're going to want to roll your clay out using the dowel on that canvas. If you have like a plastic table, your clay might stick to that too. So it's just a really easy way to roll out your clay and not worry about it sticking to your table. All right, on to the fun part. So these are your clay paints, or as we call them, underglazes. Now, some of you get these in the paint pot strips as seen here, and you also get a black and a white, so you should have 8 colors in total. Now, some of you you have that paint pot strip, and some of you have condiment containers with lids. So we just ask that please save those little containers, and we want to reuse those because those paint pot strips, those are really nice and they're good quality, they're sturdy. So just hang on to those, put those back in your box when it's time for pickup or drop off, and we will sanitize them and reuse them. Same thing goes for if you don't use your paints, which you don't have to do. You don't have to use those paints at all. And if you don't, we want to reuse those paints. All right, so on to the main event here. This is our clay. So you get 5 pounds of clay, which is actually quite a bit. I mean, this is enough clay to make at least 2 projects from the box. Or you could make a bunch of little things, and that's super fun too. So, about the clay. This is a stoneware, and it's kind of a off-white color when it's fully fired. And the other great thing about this is that it is microwave safe and food safe once it's completely done, glazed, and fired. So when you get your pieces back, they are functional and you can eat and drink from them, which, yay! Now everyone has a board, and I have a circle one here, but some of you have a square or rectangular one, and this is for working directly on with your clay, and you can store your projects on this if you want to take a break and just come back to them another time. It's also just good for transporting if you just need to put your projects up on a table or like higher like shelf or something. Just use the board. It'll be really handy. And we also have plastic bags in here, and this is so that your projects don't dry out too quickly, especially if you're not finished with them. If you take a few days on a piece, then you're going to want to cover them up, wrap them up really tightly so that they don't dry out. And if they dry out, then you won't be able to carve them or really manipulate the form. There's 2 bags there. Okay, so in the booklet, there are some tips and tricks. There's also how to make a pinch pot, which is one of the most basic forms of pottery. And you can do so much with a pinch pot. Literally, just go onto Google or Pinterest and search pinch pot projects. So you don't have to have just a plain pot, but it's a good way to start either making a mug or a bowl. Next we have our pick out your glazes sheet. So just make sure that you read all of the text on here and just follow what it says. So you can only pick up to 2 colors for each piece, and just note that any projects that you use those underglazes, those clay paints with, they're going to get a really nice glossy clear coat over the top. There are 5 glazes for you to pick from, and just make sure, just read it over, and please, when you fill it out, legible handwriting, because I'm the one who is reading these. If you know that you don't have legible handwriting, just type something out. If you have access to a printer, you can just email me too, if that's easier, at clay@strandcenter.org. There's also a back, so in case you run over and need more room to write. We have 2 templates in May's box. One is how to make a mug, and the other is to make a small trinket dish. Now, to use these templates, you have to roll out your clay with your wooden dowel on your canvas. After, you cut out each of these shapes around the outside and place that down on your clay. Trace, and then you cut those shapes out and assemble. Now, don't worry too much about this if this is intimidating at all. I will be uploading videos shortly this coming week on how to do each of these projects. But feel free, if you just want to dive in and go for it, have fun. And that is everything in May's Clay Club box. Now, if you have any questions, please email me at clay@strandcenter.org. And from all of us at the Strand, be safe, be well, and I will be back early this coming week with some videos for you. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.